There's something called calling in the light. It's just to really align us to this present moment. So it'll explain itself. So we just call forward this presence of who we are, this love, this light, this sound, and whatever other words you might call it, soul, source. And we just come into our breathing, our natural process of breathing in and out. And really letting that move us. So we let go of our control, any tightness in our body. Maybe you want to stretch or wiggle a little bit or change your position. And just start coming into this flow of just being, kind of like the water as it just has its current. And so just notice whatever's present with you right now, just like an observer, just seeing what's going on. And it's okay if there's distractions or concerns or questions, or if any part's not feeling great, that's okay too. Just allow whatever's going on to be there. Allow yourself to be just as you are, as best you can. And at this time, we do just ask to set an intention. So if you have an intention for today, for this workshop, just be aware of it. And if you don't, maybe also just allow that to come forward inside of you. And let it be as big as you can imagine, as wonderful, as incredible. That if you could get any wish to come true inside of you as an experience, maybe it's letting go of something you've had challenge with. Maybe it's feeling greater love inside of you. Maybe it's just knowing to love yourself more and experiencing that. So whatever it is, just become aware of that as you breathe in and out. And that intention will guide you today in this workshop. And that it'll also open you up to receive all of these possibilities and more. And so here we do ask for the highest good to take place, that which is for us. And just to let go of anything that's no longer serving us. Maybe they're old patterns. Maybe it's something recent that's going on in our lives. Maybe it's just a way we're seeing our life, that we would like to be different, be more light, be more joyful, be more happy. And in a way, you can just put all of it in the pot, in the light here. And you can thank yourself for showing up, for choosing to do this. And you can thank the love, spirit, your soul, source, for also being present here, however you might relate to that. And so we're just grateful for it all. And so it is.
Mm. And so it is. So just welcome everyone. I'm so just feeling the energy, that love, that presence that does spring forth inside of me when we show up in this beautiful intention to expand, to live, to really awaken to the heights that our life has in store for us. And I love doing this in an experiential way. But for the first hour here, we are going to be sharing information, including a personal and inner experience. But if you do have a question, if you do have a comment, if you have absolutely anything you want to express, feel free to throw it in the chat. One of our beautiful coaches, Melissa, is here with us, and she is going to get that any questions, any pertinent questions to us that we may need to address during this first hour. But if you do have the time, from 2 o'clock, we're going to answer any questions. We're going to have a chat. We're going to take sharing. We're just going to have some fun in a more experiential, non-recorded context. So look forward to that. So I'm Zoe. I am Zoe Lumiere, and I'm a life coach and the founder of Allowing.Love and a student of awakening more fully to how the Spirit is calling me to serve, to give, to create, to live this life in such abundance and joy.
And I'm Eric. I'm Zoe's husband. And, you know, I've learned a lot from Zoe doing this work, and I'm just grateful to be alongside her, sharing my love and my wisdom with this process, because we're wired so differently. So there's a great complement. And also with our relationship. So I'm really just grateful to be here, and hopefully you'll just experience, really it's about experiencing the love that's present and knowing that as who you are, more of that. And then manifestation, or whatever you want to call it, becomes a lot more, to me, graceful and easy. It's not a pressuring, it's not a pushing, it just becomes a natural way of life as we really get in tune with who we are. So
well said.
Thanks.
So I'm going to share a little bit of information on the screen. Mostly, I think it helps me kind of spend too long on too many tangents, but it will also help you ground some of the information. So I'm going to share some slides with you right now. And I just want to make sure what's coming up over there. Oh. Has it started? Great. Awesome. So yes, again, welcome. You will need pen and paper. And I do encourage you to hang around with us at 2 o'clock. So I want to start just by kind of prefacing this beautiful 4-week series. Eric, what do you have to say about that?
So this week, or today, we're going to talk about awakening to your greatest callings and having that experience of what that looks like, and kind of a process that we can do daily that will support that. Week 2, next Thursday, we'll go into the heart of spiritual manifestation, how that works in our experience in a way that is graceful and natural and with ease. And then week 3, clearing unconscious blocks and patterns of smallness. So when we do allow and intend toward these callings that are in our heart, we do find that often our curriculums, our blocks inside, our limitations, misbeliefs, our smallnesses will come up to be released, to be let go of. And so there's a process to really help that also be graceful and easily, because it's often a place where we can stop moving and we can give up and we can shut down. And so in week 4, the next Thursday, we'll be opening to greater spiritual support. And that's kind of like, you know, the magic, the miracles of, you know, we might call it coincidence or serendipity. Things that it's like, how do I even do this? How do I make this happen? You know, and it's really a discovery of how do we allow this to happen? And then life, you might call it, the universe conspires with us to support our callings and our dreams that are true and heartfelt. And so the first step, obviously, what we're doing today is to actually first just connect to what that is. What is true and heartfelt for us? And sometimes it's more of, it takes a bit to get in touch with that. So it's like building a muscle. So here we go.
So first, a little bit about manifesting, because we can mean a lot of different things when we say this word manifesting, and it's definitely used a lot. And that's why whenever I reference it, I do my best to say spiritual manifestation, because there is a particular process that we're talking about. So I think I was called so fully into this work because I have come in with a karma of a very competent ego, and I can manifest through my ego very well. And I spent the first 25 years of my life doing that. Money was my God, having a sexy corporate title and just honestly making a lot of money. It was all about money. That was what I cared about. And that is truly what I believed would make me happy. And I think most people on the planet are living that illusion. And I think we're all here still disconnecting from letting that illusion run our life in unconscious and conscious ways. But I had a really kind of a dramatic encouragement to let go of really living this ego push way, because I actually will go into a little bit of the detail. I was 25 years old. I was in Toronto, Canada, and I was one of the highest performing executive headhunters for banking and finance, was making great money. And it was actually in my last month of hitting this massive commission. It was just, for a 25-year-old, I was like, this is amazing. And I will never forget how I then drank myself silly for the next 3 nights, Friday night, Saturday night, and even Sunday night, because I remember just being so aware, like, how did I buy into this lie so badly? I really thought that I was going to be happy. I really genuinely thought that I was going to be happy. And I now call that my most incredible breakthrough, because I'm so grateful that I could really see that I was exhausted. I was completely addicted to alcohol, definitely to coffee, but just addicted to working. And I was incredibly empty inside. So when we're talking about manifestation, it is not through this outside in approach that I want this car, I want this job, I want this person as a partner in my life, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make it happen because I think I will be happy. I hope if you're here, you're already on the page that doesn't work. I don't think you would be at a spiritual manifestation workshop if you weren't already on that page. But I am just encouraging us to really open to this incredible process of truly letting go of what we think we want in the outside world in order to become more fully aware of truly what is being called to us within. And we, of course, term this work allowing love. We don't call it pushing hard and making shit happen and forcing stuff uphill. It truly is letting go and allowing, because when we let go of the ego, when we let go of these pushes and these pressures, we do find that there is a source, there is a spirit, there is a love and emotion and clear information that guides us more powerfully than us thinking about what we want ever will. So we're here to spiritually manifest, which is we're here to create inside out. So I want to just keep talking a little bit about how I came to be here and why this is so important to me and why I love sharing about it so much. After this massive breakdown, then breakthrough, I found my spiritual path. And I really did think that our dreams and goals and wanting things in the outside world is the devil. So I renounced all dreams, and that was really on point for me at that time. It was a beautiful experience. I discovered the spirit, but I started to make wanting things and having dreams and really being aware of beautiful visions inside of me, I started to make that wrong. And the real challenge with that was that I fucking still had dreams. I still had things that I wanted. It's just that I was denying them, going, oh no, I'm too spiritual. I don't want anything. I don't have a dream. I'm not called into this. Everything's just perfect the way that it is. And I think the challenge is that the paradox is everything is just perfect the way that it is. So inside, how do we live that experience of fullness? But still be aware that we're called into greatness. The spirit, while ever we're breathing, we're going to be called to expand, to share more, to give more, to serve. So how do we live that paradox? And so after 15 years of going, I'm too spiritual to have a dream, I became really a student of how do I do this dreaming, this manifestation in a way that isn't the way that didn't work for me, which was very outside in. And how did I truly How did it work for me to truly allow what I wanted within? So this is a beautiful quote from Carolyn Mace. We have an intuitive voice in us. We are born intuitive. We are so intuitive that when we ignore it, it becomes our greatest suffering. And really, that is what happened to me after, towards the end of those 15 years, or actually maybe all the way through it. Me denying that I wanted things and I was actually being called to move on particular things in the world did become great sadness and a sense of separation between me and the world. So really being aware of what do we want? What are our dreams? How are we being called to show up? You're gonna, in my experience, you're gonna sidestep a lot of challenges because the universe is gonna try and get your attention if you're not in communication, in conversation with it. So for me, this is just the easiest way to live in grace and to sidestep any unnecessary challenge or suffering in this world. So I have my first dream sitting next to me. So cheesy, but I have to do it. So my first call from spirit was to fall in love. And I spent many years at that point. I actually was openly celibate. I thought that it was unspiritual to be in relationship. And it was such a big dream of mine that I had denied it so fully that I basically was telling myself and everyone around me at the time that I never wanted to get married. I didn't need a relationship. So as I started to open to the truth that, oh my God, actually, no, I would really love to be in love. Actually, I would really love, well, actually, I never went to a boyfriend. I actually never wanted a boyfriend. I just wanted a husband. For whatever reason, when I got to that point, that's what was clear for me. And so I started to play inside of myself with receiving him within first. And so what I would start to do is I would go to bed with his arm around me. And it wasn't important to me what he looked like. It wasn't important to me what his bank account was. But I did start to become aware of how do I feel in his presence? How does it feel in my body? What is my body doing now that he's with me, that his arm is around me? And through that process, I genuinely just started to become aware of what I now call the frequency of our dream or the frequency of our calling. It's been so fun to see, well, who else is talking about frequency? And there is a whole lot of beautiful spiritual teachings out there about actually becoming more aware of the frequency in our body, and particularly the frequency of particular dreams. But I began through that process to be aware of what was the heart of that dream, right? I did want in the outside world to receive my husband. I'm so grateful he's here. I'm so grateful he's here in the outside world. But what my journey discovery was, like, what is the experience that I want within? If I get him, if he's here, how's that going to make me feel? And doing this night after night, I began to be aware that really what I wanted was I wanted to really know that I was lovable just as I am. I just wanted to feel loved and accepted and supported and held and adored just as I was. And we'll go through unpacking this in the later steps, the later keys, but that really started to shine the light for me on how I wasn't living that energy. I wasn't loving myself because my ass was too big. I wasn't loving myself because I wasn't working hard enough. I wasn't actually loving, accepting, and adoring myself the way that I wanted a husband to. And so that really did lay out my path for me in terms of how can I live this frequency more of loving myself, of adoring myself. And I have no doubt in my mind that me showing up for my own love for myself and releasing those blocks from loving myself is what just so naturally and miraculously allowed the beautiful outer expression of the most incredible husband in the whole world into my life.
Thank you.
So I was then called to coach. That was a wonderful experience. And it was actually not too long after I'd received this beautiful dream that I then began to be aware that I was actually very unhappy in my career, in my job. And it was a job that once fulfilled me phenomenally. It was a dream of mine to actually work for my spiritual teacher and travel and be with him. But after a couple of years, when I just started to, I was just honestly, I was unhappy. I spent a long time trying to just get a better attitude. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I unfulfilled? Like, what's wrong with me? But the truth was that I was unhappy. And I can see now that I was just out of alignment. The spirit was calling me to move on, but I was not. And so finally, I got frustrated enough to wake up every morning, and really initially it was the energy of like, fuck it, spirit, if you're out there, I need you to show me like what's next. I need you to show me, and I need you to show me. And there were lots of different other questions, and we'll get into what are your questions. What is it that perhaps that conversation with spirit that is yours to have? But I started to get up every morning and I started to dialogue with the spirit inside of me. And in that process, I downloaded what we now call the Allowing.Love 5 steps. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. And I'm so grateful that I have one of our Allowing.Love coaches with us, Doreen, who's also going to be sharing a little bit about her experience of this Allowing.Love process. But the focus of today is the first step: asking and awakening to our calling. And I'm just so grateful that I got so unhappy that I actually kind of began to demand, really, just really let go and open to truly, spirit, how do I move forward? So I am not unique in this way, that only I have my answers for my life and no one else has their own answers for their life. And if you've been doing this work for a long time, you can just nod your head and agree with me because you'll already be on this page. But if you are newer to this work, this is a big one. So I just encourage us all to open to, we are all connected to this source, this energy, this love, and it has all of our answers. And it has everything that we need. The challenge is that we need to slow down, become still, and truly get a relationship with this energy, with the spirit, with our heart, with our high self, however those terms work best for you. And in my experience, it really helps if we consistently pour time into this relationship. You know, this relationship wouldn't work very well if we didn't put time and priority and focus and really showed up to ask and listen and receive. And similarly, if we want the spirit to support us in giving our greatest dreams, are you willing to put the time to really connect, to be with, to really be in loving, in communication, in conversation with the spirit, so that you can ask for what you want, but so that you can also receive the inspiration, the ideas, the little nudges that spirit's always giving us. So be open to your own unique inner chat. It's not going to be like mine. It's not going to be like Eric's. Often there are a lot of similarities, and we'll talk about some ways that this might work for you. But in essence, yours will be yours. And if you have a clear intention to awaken to it, there is nothing that's going to stop you from awakening to it. I do, however, encourage you to have patience in that process, because I do often relate this process like that of picking up a violin or learning the violin. No one has ever picked up a violin and made beautiful music. Well, maybe they have. I play the violin. It just seems very unlikely to me. Usually you pick it up and it feels wrong. It feels awkward. It feels like, oh my God, this should never be this way. This is terrible. And sometimes when we go within and we're trying to have this conversation with the spirit, it can be fucking frustrating. We're going from learning how to communicate in this physical world into a very different form of communication, and we're going to give you hopefully some great ideas and a beautiful experience in some beautiful energy to open more fully to what that is for you. But I just encourage you to hang in there, trust yourself, and there's nothing that can hold you back, in my experience, from awakening to that in time.
And just to add, I think a lot of people can get into, this is the way it works. This is how communicating, this is how receiving your dreams works. And, there's a lot of books like that, and those are great to give us reference points and like give us tips. But it's really true what Zoe's saying. The way that works for you is going to be unique to you. And the more you can let go of whatever that looks like, if it's hearing spirit say words, or if it's seeing symbols, or if it's this or that, etc., the more you can let go of those limitations in a sense and just let it show up how it is, how it comes through to you. Probably the easier and the sooner you'll reach and develop that connection. It's just, it's profound, but it's almost like you're in a discovery of something that's revealing itself to you as you ask, as you show up, as you call that out inside of you. It's really cool. And it's a trust walk. Yeah.
And so I just wanted to anchor this quote from Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. And I just do believe that we are all here because we are called to serve more fully at this time. And I do believe that you wouldn't be here with us in this moment if you weren't aware of that call into your greatness. Call that into greater loving, into greater joy, greater kindness, greater abundance. But for whatever reason, that is a scary process. It's scary to really stand up, be seen, really create that we know that we're capable of. And that's why I love doing this in group, because we get to see, oh wow, we're all afraid. This is challenging for everyone. I'm scared. I'm sabotaging myself. I'm doing lots of things. But provided I don't give up, and provided I continue to be vulnerable with my process and really allow myself to let go of what doesn't work, there is no possible outcome but that I will get there. I will awaken. So I just wanted to anchor this quote also in terms of our dreams aren't actually here to pull us more into the world. They're here to call us more into our alignment with spirit and into greater service. The other thing that's really powerful to know is that we don't actually have to achieve our dream to find soul fulfillment, to have this beautiful experience. It really is in the showing up for what we want, because sometimes we may be guided to this, but then only after getting around this corner, we can see, oh, wow, it's actually something much bigger, much greater, much more beautiful. So it's definitely a skill to let go of being attached to what we want in the outside world. But if we're showing up for it in this beautiful inner experience, we will be able to, and we'll be able to continue to let go and receive that greater manifestation that spirit does have on track for us.
And you might be like, greater service. Like, I don't even know how to take care of myself yet. And so I would just say, well, that is greater service.
Yeah.
So it's whatever there is next that is a greater expression of loving. And to me, self-care is probably one of the greatest examples of that, because it starts with ourselves. And if we're not caring about ourselves, then what else can we do? So really, that is a great expression of service. So it doesn't have to be this big thing, this out here.
Yeah. Really, really important to ground that. So we're going to have a little bit of time now. We're going to go into an exercise, and we will have an opportunity to ask specific questions to our higher self. Call that a higher power, source, God, spirit, our heart, our soul. That energy doesn't care what we call it. So I just encourage you to use the words and the relationship that works best for you. But I do encourage us to really show up for some of these big questions, because these big questions do align our ego, our lower self, to really become the servant that they're meant to be to the spirit. If we don't slow down and we wake up as autopilot, as ego, we can just be pushing for things out in the world. But by really asking these questions in an inner, with an inner intention, we can really line up our ego and all of our lower levels to serve this intention, this intuition within. So just a final couple of notes for those of you who are kind of going, what? conversation with what? Asking, receiving, listening with what? This in my experience is a process of receiving, of observing, of listening. So I don't believe that we ever really arrive to this place. I believe this is an ongoing, expanding journey. While ever we're alive, we do have an opportunity to more finely, more intimately, more sweetly be aware of how the spirit is calling us. But for me, the biggest key is to focus our energy on watching, on waiting, receiving, observing, listening. And a huge key for me is to trust the first thing that pops in.
And you'll notice that thinking is not up there. And I think it's clear the reason why is that thinking is based upon the information you have. And so a lot of this is beyond the information of our ego, our life so far, that there's so much more out there. And so thinking is not there.
And there are so many little tips or tricks we could put on the table to support you in this. But we're going to not give you too many of those, because you may have your own perfect way that's ready to reveal itself to you. But in the Q&A at 2:00 and throughout this 4-week series, we are going to be talking about that. But rather than pattern you with what works for me or for Eric, we're going to kind of leave it very open, and just really encourage you to be curious. And that childlike play might be a key, right? How would a 5-year-old do this? Like, really just think about that question right now. How would a 5-year-old do this? Well, they'd be excited. They'd believe it were possible. And it wouldn't even occur to them that there was a wrong way to do it. They'd just fucking jump in and do something. But there would be a sense perhaps of awe, of wonder, of truly being able to let go and receive, because they don't have anything that's conditioning them to anything else. So I just encourage you to bring forward your inner 5-year-old. They're going to guide you really powerfully into this experience. So get comfy, grab a pen and paper. So this is the time that we are going to dive into this beautiful inner process between you and spirit. Remember, there's nothing for you to do, work hard, figure it, get it right. This is a time for you to relax, to let go and allow. And as I say, we will have time for questions from 2 p.m. So if you're really getting stuck or challenged, please just hang in there. Just do your best to continue to let go and do the guided process. But we will support you, answer any questions at 2:00. Alrighty. So we are going to call in the light again just now. Just a short one.
So right now we just again come even more present than we are. And even just notice your body, it's sitting or however it is, lying down. Might notice your hands, your breath. Just so you're here and not somewhere else. And if there's anything else that is important that may be distracting, you can just say, I'll get back to that. So we're just going to become as present as we can and really let go of the rest. We do ask for just the highest good to come forward for us in this communication, in this chat, in this receiving of what is for us at this time, of a calling, a dream, our heart's greatest desire. And so we just need to be open, and that's it. And so we just say, yes, we're here. And here we go.
Alrighty. So you just can continue to allow your breath and consciously deepen it. Slow it down just a little. Really be aware that your breath rejuvenates you. So really just deepen and sink into your breath, just for another deep breath. And so you're going to have a few moments right now to say g'day to whatever it is that you're calling this essence. Greet it, connect with it. Truly, if the spirit walked into the room, what do? Do you get up and hug it?
Mm.
Just really use your own sense inside to greet the spirit, your heart, your soul, your high self, whatever word you use, greet it, connect. You'll have half an hour just to connect and embrace and be with it. And so now you have an opportunity to ask it for your highest good. So ask this beautiful presence for your highest good, your greatest life, your greatest dreams, your absolute highest life. And now also ask it to help you let go of anything that might be in the way of you receiving your highest good. Just ask it, help me let go of anything that I'm doing, anything that's in my consciousness that might be holding me back from my highest good. So now we're going to do 3 intentional breaths. And on the in breath, we're simply saying, I am receiving my highest good. And on the out breath, I am letting go of anything in its way. Breathing in again, I am receiving my highest good. And I am letting go of anything in its way on the out breath. And one more. Great job. So we now have an opportunity just to pay attention, just for a minute. Then we're going to bring in more of a dialogue. But I am encouraging us all in this moment just to pay attention, listen, observe. There may be some information that comes present before you even ask. But just be aware. Pay attention for the next minute or so. And so if you are receiving something, please ignore my voice and continue to receive that within. But you do also have an opportunity right now to ask any specific questions. Could be about a specific relationship, about your work, about family. Oh my Lord, it could be absolutely anything. But truly, if the source of all answers was with you right now, what question would you ask? And you can write that question down. And it might be helpful for, as you receive any answers, to write it down. Just write down whatever you receive. So we're going to have about 5 minutes in this beautiful inner silent process.
And if you don't receive an answer, that may be an answer in itself, that it's not time to know the answer to that question. So I would just trust whatever comes present, that it's perfect for you at this time.
So really settle in. You'll have 5 minutes of silence, 5 minutes for playing with the spirit within. Alrighty, and so I just encourage us all to complete whatever communication, sweetness, experience, whatever is present in this moment. And just as we do whenever we complete consciously connecting, being with someone, well, many of us, we say thank you. And so really take this opportunity to just say thank you, regardless what you've received. Just really thank the Spirit. Thank yourself for showing up and diving into this woo-woo experience. Just really thank yourself and thank the Spirit. Exchange a beautiful big hug of completion. Just take a little time to complete this inner process, to come back and be present in this beautiful room with us in a moment. Alrighty. So that is a deep sense of step one of the Allowing Love meditation. And I will get Melissa just to throw the 2 different ways that the Allowing Love meditation is available in the chat. That particular guided process is also available. And she will also throw that also in the chat. So there's a bunch of links that you can keep playing, experimenting, experiencing these things. But I am just so excited to be able to share one of our Allowing Love coaches with you. And I have to say that when we do this kind of work, it can feel like I'm the one here sharing stuff and you're the ones listening. And what I've loved about this Allowing Love community is that it has been the richest adventure of where we're all walking hand in hand more fully into the lives that we want. And Doreen Dietsche has inspired me no end by her gifts and her very specific talents in terms of communicating with the Spirit and showing up consistently for this beautiful conversation, connection with the Spirit. And it was actually in the retreat, the Allowing Love coaches and us, we went on retreat to really explore and get clear on the offerings for next year. And the big takeaway that I was so surprised by was they all loved the Allowing Love 5 steps. Why weren't we sharing the Allowing Love 5 steps more? And I know just so excited to share Doreen with you. I know that many of you know her, and I would love to give you her rap sheet, but really because she has been the dean of PTS, Peace Theological Seminary and College of Philosophy. She has a doctorate, she has master's degrees. She's just an incredibly impressive woman, but nothing is more impressive than just being with her beautiful, loving heart. So I just invite you to spend a little time with Doreen as she shares her own experience about this beautiful thing called awakening to our calling and allowing love. Doreen, take it away, honey.
Thank you. So my name is Doreen, and I am I'm a nut about the Allowing Love process. I've been doing it for a very long time now, and have had my own like discovery process. It's just an incredible discovery process of inviting God into my day. And so that's what, for me, this first step of allowing love is probably the cornerstone for me, because it's this wholehearted willingness to invite God in and really want to hear. Like and sometimes I'll even say that inside, like, I really want to know what you want me to know. Like, I just kind of open wide up to it. And so that's my every day when I do Allowing Love. I'm not perfect. I don't do it every day, but every day that I do it, it feels like this beautiful invitation for God, the universe, Buddha, whatever name you want to put on it, with this invitation to like participate with me and help guide me. So that's my way of saying, here I am. And I've loved my own personal journey with this, watching how the 5 steps work inside of me. And as I open to receive, like I get images sometimes and I don't know what the images mean. So I dialogue with God, like, what does the bread truck mean? Or sometimes I get a color and tell me more about the color. Sometimes I'll even hear songs and I'll pause. I'm like, I know that tune. And as soon as I tune into what the lyrics are for the tune, it's direction for me. So it's just been an incredible way for me to get guidance in the day. And even today, when I did it, I do this thing inside where I see myself inside with my hands open. And I'm like, okay, like, like I'm open to receive, like, show me. And today the words came in, let go and breathe. And I get that a lot for like years now, let go and breathe. And I was just reflecting on letting go and breathing when I do it and when I don't do it. And when I do it, I'm so much clearer and more centered and peaceful and calm. And when I don't do it, and I get more done. And when I don't do it, the day is a little bit of a mess. I'm a little bit of a mess. I like the work that I do isn't really that good. So anyway, I just really, I love the direction and guidance just by stepping in and inviting spirit into my day, for, to partner with me and just experience what it is for me to experience the highest, best, most joyful day for me. So thank you.
So I just encourage us all to breathe that in, just so aware in this moment of that childlike nature, that childlike essence of hands out and just really wanting, allowing ourselves to want and receive. Thank you so much, Doreen. It's just been such a joy to play with you in this way for so many years now. And I am so honored that you're going to be one of our coaches for next year and the immersion. And I just can't wait to share you more with our beautiful community. So thank you so much.
And I also want to add, one thing I love about Doreen is she really brings this childlike innocence to everything she does, like beyond imaginable, like it's a mastery. And yet it's also, I'm just aware, it's how she's wired. It's how she came in, and she's awakened more to that as I've seen you, Doreen, just like I've awakened to more of my wiring, my gifts inside. And so we all have different kind of gifts that come out. So it's important too to not think, oh, I need to be all of them. I need to be like Zoe's very different from me. She's great at showing up almost every day doing Allowing Love. Me, on the other hand, I don't do it that often, honestly, but I do it in my own way in terms of like letting go and breathing. That's a process I do throughout the day all the time, just being me. So it's like, use it in the way that works for you, that comes natural. You don't have to try to be someone new or someone different. It's gonna expand who you are already. So you start from where you are. And that's all I gotta say. And I just love you, Doreen. Thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing you.
Yeah, so beautiful. So that is definitely a huge plug for the Allowing Love meditation. It is free. It is always going to be free. And it is delivered in the version of 7 meditations via email. And you have the link for that, or you can access the dashboard and access them all at one time. But we did very intentionally want to create these events, this 4-week series, as a way for anyone that does really want to learn this technology of spiritual manifestation, to do it in community, to really have some fun and dive in. But it is also a really beautiful way for anyone who really wants to master this process and do it with support, with with very specific methodologies and technologies, that we are launching the Allowing Love Immersion next year, which is a 4-month program that will really powerfully not only take these keys, but also for me, what really is the heart of that process is, okay, it's one thing to be aware of, I want this. This is what I'm called into. The biggest value in this kind of work is, okay, how do I clear the unconscious blocks, my karma, my patterns of stupid, of small, of stuck? How do I clear that work? And that's really the heart of the Allowing Love Immersion. How do we, with our vulnerability and our love and our connection to spirit, truly heal those blocks? So I will just share, well, I actually don't need to share the slide. The Allowing Love Immersion starts in February next year. It is in essence that 10-month Allowing Love intensive group coaching program, concentrated into a 4-month program with additional support, with additional Allowing Love coaching support. And it's actually going to be, well, I won't get into the investment, but it's significantly more accessible than the intensive was. Yeah. So,
which is really important to us.
Which is incredible, because we really are on a bit of a mission to really support those that are ready to dive into this work, to truly let go of our patterns of smallness. Because if the world needs something right now, it's people showing up in greater love, really trusting their gifts and really living their greatness. So we're very excited to do that. And enrollment opens in November. So enrollment isn't open right now, but we are using this beautiful series as a way for you to get your feet wet a little bit in this perspective, this process. And just would love to chat with you more about that when enrollment opens in November.
Yeah, there's a lot of time.
So much time. But right now, I just want to say, oh my Lord, thank you for being here. Thank you, Spirit, for miraculously ending us at 2:00 on the dot. That has never happened. My events always go over. I cannot stop myself from tangents up the wazoo. Spirit, thank you. This shit works. And so if anyone did want to kind of take those nuggets and those resources and head off out the back door, thank you so much for being here. I do encourage you to show up for the weeks 2, 3, and 4. Because it really does create a whole cohesive process as we put them all together. The one link that I am realizing that I forgot to give Melissa is the donation link. Many of you have already paid, but we are asking for a $7 donation for this event if you can afford it, or $17 for all 4. And that link, Melissa, is just paypal.me/Zoe Lumiere. So if you can just throw in the link, paypal.me/Zoe Lumiere. And I do encourage you guys to donate, because all of that money goes to scholarships for the program next year. All of our programs have been funded by scholarships. People that can't afford the full amount have received support and assistance. So please do give $7 if you're able, and consider giving even more if you are able, because that money really will go directly to students for next year.
And quickly about that, I just, like, I'm a musician too. I would love to just give it all away for free. And same with this. I think we would, in a sense. And we've, what I found personally is that when I put something on the line, when I put some investment, something that is related to what I can afford, and also the value I want to receive, that there's something really powerful in that. And so obviously this isn't about money when you're charging $7 thing, but it is about just, asking people to just put a little thing down. So it's an intention, it's a commitment inside. Also, so you show up and saying, I have given something to this and I'm ready to receive. So I just know it works for me.